motorists to start paying for using Entebbe Expressway this week. That and more stories in Ambulity today. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Nahaba Kujur, but first are the headlines. MPs task government to fast-track new bills. South Africa Parliament fire flares up again. In our sports today, Uganda Cranes returnee Ochan midfielder Sematimba summoned on provisional team to Turkey, Iraq. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. We start with one of our top stories. Now, Uganda National Roads Authority has said that motorists will at the end of this week start paying for using Kampala Entebbe Expressway. Now, according to UNRA, starting Saturday, January 8, 2022, motorists will be paying for using the expressway. We have more on this report. The Uganda National Roads Authority said on Monday that they have commenced the insurance of toll cards to all road users of Kampala Entebbe Expressway today, adding that cards are now available at the toll plazas of Busega, Kajansi and Mpala. UNRA said that motorists will continue using the road freely until actual tolling begins. The roads body say that motorists are free to pass by the toll plazas with their national IDs or passports to register and get toll cards for free. In November, the Minister for Works and Transport, General Edward Katumba Wamala, announced that after a rigorous process that involved going through Parliament, government had finally released the fees payable by motorists to use the Kampala Entebbe Expressway. General Katumba said that motorcycles with more than 400cc and not borders will pay 3,000 shillings, light vehicles 5,000 shillings, medium goods vehicles 2 to 3 axles 10,000 shillings, large goods vehicles and buses 4 to 5 axles 15,000 shillings, whereas large goods vehicles will pay 18,000 shillings. He noted that the fees will be one-way use. According to government, weekly users will be given a 50% discount for 7-day return trips purchased in advance, whereas monthly users will have up to 70% in discount for 30 days return trips paid for in advance. The minister said that electronic card users will have 10% discount per trip. The 1.8 trillion shillings with two sections over 36.94 kilometers long and a 12.68 kilometers long link road and constructed by China Communication Construction Company is expected to ease traffic jam from Uganda's capital, Kampala to Entebbe, as well as reducing the travel time for motorists to the airport from 120 minutes in the past using the narrow old Entebbe road to only 30 minutes. Away from that, moving on in our top stories, a section of legislators has asked government to fast-track the tabling of the new bills, in addition to the reintroduction of remaining essential shelved bills of the 10th Parliament. Now, to these legislators, once bills are tabled in time, it will give Parliament time to consult widely. Our reporter has more on this report.
Some of the bills legislators are seeking government to fast-track include the Sexual Offences Bill 2019 that sought to address the increasing sexual violence and issues related to consensual and non-consensual sex, among others. The others are the Constitutional Amendment Bill, which was tabled by Wilfred Nwagaba, that seeks to, among others, repeal the offices of the resident district commissioners, reinstate presidential term limits, scrap Uganda People's Defence Force representation, and slash the number of senior ministers to 21. Shamim Malende, the Kampala Woman Member of Parliament, said only bills that are centered on helping the people should be passed. She opposed the proposed bill that seeks to ban bail for capital offenders. The chairperson of Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee, Mwine Mpaka, said Parliament's focus should be on enacting the two long-awaited bills, the Consumer Protection Bill and Competitions Trade Bill 2022. Mpaka said the Competitions Bill will help to address the role of manufacturers and draw a clear distinction between wholesale and retail business.
Moving on, Opposition Democratic Party has appealed to school owners to sympathize with parents with the little they have in order to enable all learners return to school. Now, this is ahead of school reopening of the 10th of January amid a struggling economy. Our reporter Nalugo has more.
Addressing journalists at their party headquarters in Kampala, the party spokesperson Okolelo Opiola Amanu said times are bad and the economy is struggling to return back to normal. Therefore, school owners should not be strict on parents as students return back to school.
If a parent, for instance, offers to bring food such that his or her student keeps in school, we appeal to the school owners to have the courtesy to accept such items until such a time when the economy will normalize and the parents will be able to proceed normally as they were before.
In his end-of-year address on 31st December 2021, President Yoweri Museveni said the economy will be fully reopened and schools will reopen starting January 10, 2022. Schools have been closed for nearly 2 years because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Museveni said the transport sector is fully reopened with public service vehicles allowed to carry passengers to the required capacity. However, all passengers must present proof of vaccination, wear face masks and follow the preventive measures of COVID-19. DP says this may be impossible as there is no legal backing of such directives.
Kubanga bino president yabyogedde bwogezi bigenda kufuuka tteeka senga bibeera biteekeddwa mu kye tuyita statutory instrument nga biri kondesi nga bifuuse tteeka naye nga bwe twogera kati ebyo president Museveni byeyogedde yabadde anyumyamu bunyumya kale bisobola okutuyamba okutegeera enteekateeka ya gavumenti.
Okolel also appealed to the KCCA enforcement officers who are currently carrying out enforcement in downtown Kampala on street vendors to conduct themselves professionally while executing their work. Nalgo Muyingo, Africa Today.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. We'll take a quick break. We shall come back with the international news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, The Right to Know. In our international news today, with the announcement of his resignation on Sunday evening, former Sudanese Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok throws in the towel just over a month after he signed an agreement with the military. Now, in a televised speech on Sunday evening, Hamdok admitted that his efforts to bridge a widening gap between political forces and called for political dialogue. Sudanese woke up on Monday with mixed reactions. Our reporter has more.
Some Khartoum residents, such as Muhammad al-Mubarak al-Sadiq, regretted the departure of the Prime Minister, saying that Sudan lost an important personality that was approved by the international community and the Sudanese people, and hope that he will make a comeback in the coming period as an independent and become the Sudanese president. For others like Muhammad al-Amin Dawood, the resignation of the Prime Minister is not a massive loss. Dawood said that Sudanese women have given birth to thousands of men like Hamdok, adding that people are not tied to one person only because Sudan is full of patriotic men. Sudan was navigating a fragile transition towards full civilian rule since April 2019 and the ouster of President al-Bashir following an unprecedented wave of youth-led protests. A rocky transition led by Hamdok took on before it was derailed on October 25th when Sudan's new de facto ruler, Top General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, launched a coup detaining the Prime Minister and his cabinet ministers. Hamdok was eventually reinstated on November 21st as part of an agreement with the military. His resignation leaves the military in full command.
Away from that, in our international news, fire crews have continued to work at South Africa's National Parliament complex in Cape Town on Monday after a major fire blazed through the buildings a day earlier, causing extensive damage. We have more on this report. The fire crews had been scaled back from around 70 firefighters on Sunday to 20 by Monday morning. Other buildings in the complex were also damaged by the fire that started early Sunday morning and spread from an old Parliament building that now houses offices of the National Assembly building. With grand columns and stately white and red brick buildings, the Parliament complex has been at the center of South Africa's history for more than 130 years. Some of the buildings have withered British colonialism, the apartheid regime, and South Africa's transition to democracy and the presidency of Nelson Mandela. The police say that a man arrested on Sunday is being questioned in connection with the fire. Parliament was closed for the holidays and no injuries were reported. Moving on Monday afternoon, the Capetonian Fire Brigade was once again deployed to contain the fire threatening to consume South Africa's parliament. Our reporter Kachanchu has more.
Under the eyes of Capetonians, a dozen firefighters were using a crane lift to direct their hose towards the roof of the 19th century building that houses the South African National Assembly. On Sunday, the fire was believed to have been brought under control, however it flared up again. Jermaine Karelsi, the spokesperson for Cape Town's Fire and Rescue Services, recalls the moment when his firefighters had to resume their battle against the blaze. He said that he thought that was before 5 when the crews alerted them to a fire in the roof void, adding that at that time there were only about 6 fire engines and about 30 personnel at the scene, which is a little bit challenging for the guys due to the slope of the roof as well as the wind fanning the fire continuously. The blaze first broke out on Sunday in the wood-panelled old part of the building, which houses South Africa's first parliament and some of the nation's most cherished artifacts. It then ravaged the new assembly, where legislators currently meet. A suspect was arrested by Cape Town authorities on suspicion of arson, theft, and housebreaking on Monday.
Moving on, sea level rise caused by global warming is threatening a bay on the west coast of Congo, located 20 kilometers from Point Nord. The local community is worried their past could disappear with it. We have more on this report. Longo Bay, once home to an important slave trading post, is at risk of washing away, along with its important history. Longo Bay is exposed to the powerful open waters and currents of the Atlantic Ocean. Mampasi Albert, local inhabitant, say that he saw how the sea advances, breaking everything, adding that even the tombs up there are no longer there and everything has gone. According to Batato Kisala, project promoter who clones the trees, they are cloning the mango trees so that they can continue the memory of the 2 million slaves who have passed through this day, adding that through each mango tree they will clone and distribute all over the world. Kim Foko, a local historian, is urging authorities to act and say that the historic site has fallen into disrepair and attracts only a few tourists a year. In Longo Bay, one of the main embarking points, the route along which enslaved people were bought and sold and marched to waiting ships is still visible today, known as the slave route. Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Africa Today takes a quick break. We shall come back with the business news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. In the business news today, Egypt's Suez Canal Authority announced on Sunday that its annual revenues reached $6.3 billion last year, the highest in its history.
The head of the Suez Canal Authority, Admiral Osama Rabey, said that in 2021, revenues were 12.8% higher compared to 2020. In a statement, the Admiral added that the traffic on the waterway last year increased by 10%, reaching over 20,000 vessels. About 10% of global trade, including 7% of the world's oil, flows through the Suez Canal, which connects the Mediterranean and Red Seas. In March, the canal was blocked for 6 days when a massive container ship, the Ever Given, ran aground in the single-lane stretch of the waterway, causing chaos in supply chains.
Turning your attention to our health news today, Botswana's President Mokgweetsi Masisi has been tested positive for COVID-19 and placed in mandatory self-isolation, according to a government spokesperson. Now, the government spokesperson added that the president is not showing any symptoms and is under close medical monitoring. We have more on this report. According to government spokesperson, Mokgweetsi Masisi tested positive during a routine check and added that the Vice President Lamba Sogwane will replace him until further notice. Omicron, a highly contagious variant with multiple mutations that raise concerns about vaccine resistance, was first identified in Botswana and South Africa in late November. Botswana recently announced the launch of the booster campaign for those already vaccinated and lower the vaccination age for children to 12 years. Omicron is causing a new wave of pandemic around the world, where it is currently present in about 100 countries, according to the World Health Organization. It is highly contagious, affecting both vaccinated people and those who have already been infected with the virus. While many countries are now seeing tighter health restrictions with record numbers of new infections occurring daily, South Africa announced this week that it had passed the peak of the Omicron wave and eased health restrictions. In our sports news today, Uganda Cranes will travel to Europe and Asia for 5 international build-up matches between 10th to 28th January 2022. Now, the head coach, Milutin, has to this effect summoned a pool of 44 players to embark on preparation for these matches. We have more on this report.
Uganda Cranes shall play international build-up matches against Iceland, Botswana and Moldova in Turkey. 2 other build-ups will be held in Asia against Iraq in Baghdad and Bahrain in Bahrain City. Kampala Capital City Authority goalkeeper Benjamin Ochan makes a return to the national team fold after some period out. Ochan joins Vipers youngster Jack Komakech, Nafian Alionzi of URA, Joel Mutakuba of Express, and 2 foreign-based goalkeepers, Charles Lukwago based in Ethiopia and Isma Watenga, a South African-based. Wakiso Giants playmaker Titus Tito Sematimba earns his maiden appearance on the national team. The Uganda Revenue Authority defender Benjamin Nyakojo, Arua Hills Joseph Bright Voni, George Kasonko of Bull, Ibrahim Juma of KCCA, Travis Mutiaba of Sports Club Villa, and untouched Patrick Henry Kadru are also part of the players' pool. The players will converge on the morning of 9th January 2022 and hold a training session later in the evening and will depart for Turkey on 10th January 2022. The first build-up against Iceland will be held on 12th January 2022 in Antalya City, Turkey. The match will come on 15th January 2022 against Botswana in Antalya, and the third match shall come on 18th January 2022 against Moldova, also in Antalya. Uganda Cranes shall then face Iraq on 21st January 2022 in Baghdad City, and finally Bahrain on 27th January 2022 in Bahrain City. The team returns home on the 28th January 2022.
Well, thank you so much for being our loyal audience from where we started from. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We shall keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the right to know.